What's your drug of choice? Sometimes I'll let myself get a little thirsty, not like I'm getting weak from dehydration, just hold off on liquids for a bit. I just want to feel a little dry in the throat. I want to feel a need. Then I'll get a chilled glass I've had ready in the fridge, fill it just over half with ice cubes, fill almost to the top with the cold, filtered water from the fridge, getting more and more thirsty with every step, and finally, the ritual complete, I hold the cup aloft. See the light refracting, feel the temperature of my skin dropping from the contact, and then I wash down a couple of perks with it. Asthma is essentially characterized by two things, airway inflammation, and airway hyperresponsiveness. The corticosteroids you're inhaling are great for the inflammation, but the hyperresponsiveness, it's basically disproportionate huffing and puffing in relation to your activity, should be treated with a long-acting beta agonist, essentially a longer-acting Ventolin. A good indicator of whether this is necessary is how many times a day you use your inhaler. If it's more than 2-3, go for dual therapy. Obviously consult your doctor, because the asthma market is flooded and there are so many options. You can get multiple dual therapy steroid plus LABA blends in an inhaler device for pretty much the same price. Accidentally got addicted to perks years ago working overnight, and just too much in general. For me, opiates give me a big energy boost, make me buzzy, not slurry, but more clear. I started with 5s, one a night, a couple a day, taking breaks when I didn't have work. Then they stopped working, so I was buying 30s and taking them in halves. Started taking the whole thing before work to get what I was looking for. Started taking them even when I was off of work. Went about this for a couple months, left the job and subsequently my drug dealer, and about a day or so later I was in withdrawal. It happened so quickly but effortlessly. Opiates are a real trap. I had a few surgeries after that, and I, for the most part, took very much care in how I took them. Was able to stay clear of getting addicted, again. Weed. I'm a recovering alcoholic. April 23rd. Shrooms are amazing. First 3 times I was just high and had tons of fun with it. 4th time was the first time I understood why people become one with nature. Was explaining to my sober buddy how the stars were taking pictures of me. Or at least they looked like they were. Was explaining it very analytically and logically. When I looked at the tree next to me, this tree was reaching out to me. I realized how old and wise it was compared to me and how it was connected by its roots to the rest of the planet. Everything was connected and it made me very humble. But yeah, my drug of choice is weed. Oh man, so, first time I did shrooms was like an Oz and a half, 'cause I'm a fucking idiot. And it was outside, again, fucking idiot, in a bandstand in a park, at night, where the lights are beamed into your eyes and the surrounding hills, so it gives you a good view of the trees and nature. Did I mention that I am a fucking idiot? Well, I am. So basically, it took me an hour and a half to roll a cigarette. 2 hours to smoke it, at which point the entire park around me turned to cardboard cutouts. Everything around me was just for show. It wasn't real. Life wasn't real. It's just what we play at before the real show begins. The reality of it all is behind the scenes or after the show. Nothing, and I mean nothing, has come as close to destroying my ego, self-importance and overall shitty attitudes in life. It was really eye-opening and nearly full-on religious experience. Reality is what you make it. Enjoy the show. Don't take shit too serious. First time I did them I felt this about the trees as well. Went to a forest and a massive old tree had fallen. I sat on the trunk and stroked it. Told my friends it was my brother who had been fatally injured in battle and I was comforting him as he died. Additionally, all the little scraps you get when walking through a forest I believe were the trees and plants punishing me for humans being so unkind to the earth. I welcomed it and completely understood why they would do it. The plants were purple and shimmery as well. Magical shit, man. Edit. Mine is also weed. Ketamine can be used for pain management, drug-assisted intubation, sedation of excited delirium. So versatile and low risk. If you give too much, the high just lasts longer. I'm a paramedic. Smile. Edit. Hey folks, a lot of you have rightly pointed out long-term and damaging effects of ketamine. As I said, I'm a paramedic, not a psychiatrist/doctor/ or other primary, definitive care provider. Ideal in short-term, emergency care. I can give a 2 doses totaling a max of 750 milligrams for an intubation, much less for pain or behavioral emergencies. If you are getting the max dose from me, you are getting intubated in the field. That means you are having a bad day. While it is on my radar, I cannot speak much to long-term or recreational use, abuse by the patients and what damage it causes. Alcohol. I didn't used to drink so much. Only to have fun, only to loosen up and be more social. It was such a great escape from my boring life. I was lame, awkward, girls didn't like me, and the friends I had were often fleeting. Nothing interesting happened to me, except, when I hung out with other people who were drinking, they seemed so interesting. Everything became so dramatic. I remember my high school crush getting drunk, bumming cigarettes, and then crying on my shoulder because she didn't want to live like that, but because I was so boring, and what she was doing wasn't. Suddenly I craved that kind of life. Fast forward 5 years, now I love drinking. It turns a boring night into an eventful one. Things happen. Emotions run wild, people argue and rant and do crazy things. It's an adventure. You can go for a walk and talk about nothing and it all feels so fulfilling. Eventually I moved out of my parents' house on my own, started college, got a drink in college, right? How else will you meet people and become friends? How else will you really get to live your life without all those insecurities and inhibitions? Except now there's a new thing happening. Anxiety afterwards. Feels like shit. But if you drink, it goes away. You go right back to that same feeling of the world being like your own personal soap opera, and you're the main character. And it stays like that for a while. You can function sober pretty well, for now. You're not always thinking about your next drink, but you sure don't feel the same. So then anytime you have a valid excuse you drink. Hard day at work, drink. Upset a friend, drink. Have something to celebrate, you bet your ass you're gonna have a drink. Accidentally knock up your girlfriend, fuck, drink? Okay, that's fine. I can be a good dad. I can drop out of college. I can get a job. I can provide. God, this is scary. I need a drink. Now that life feels better, this will be great. Having a kid will be amazing. I'll be such a good dad. I'll love the shit out of that kid. I better text my girlfriend at 3 in the morning and tell her how excited I am. Fuck, being a new parent is hard. You have so many responsibilities. We got the baby to sleep tonight. Let's unwind with some beers. Oh hey, we can totally just take him out with us for dinner at the local pub. He just sleeps in the stroller fine. I'm so tired from being out late last night, but he doesn't sleep in as late as he used to, so I have to wake up and be a parent now. God, parenting is hard. I deserve a drink at lunchtime. In fact, I'm a better parent with a drink in me. I'm more patient, not as anxious. I'm not drinking every day anyways. I'm fine. Oh, what's that? You're pregnant? Holy shit, that's a lot to handle. I better get drunk and miss a day at work. It's fine, people cope like this all the time. Look, I need a drink. I got fired for missing work on top of being late all the time because I was hungover. I'll get a new job, one where it's acceptable to drink at lunch. And when working late. And during the day too when we're in a crunch. Hey, having a beer on the train home is how I unwind. Look, I know I've been drinking too much. I'm gonna quit working there. The environment is just too stressful, and I've only been drinking so much because everyone else is. This new job is work from home, so it'll be fine. No, those empty beer cans in my office aren't from today. I'm just lazy and I'm not cleaning them up. Oh, you're pregnant again? That's great. It's not like we're fighting all the time. It's not like I'm barely managing to hold things together. We wanted a third baby. This is what we wanted. Shit, I really should stop drinking every day. Shit, am I an alcoholic? Fuck, okay, I'll taper off. Okay, that didn't work. I drank a bunch today. I'll start tapering off tomorrow. See, we've been in the hospital for 2 days with our newborn and I'm fine. I'm not an alcoholic. I haven't drank anything this whole time. I can still control myself. I can drink when I want to. Why am I drinking so much again? Why can't I stop drinking so much? I just need a beer to take the edge off. to make me feel young again. Shit, if I stop cold turkey now I'll probably have withdrawals, better taper off. It's fine, everything is fine, I can do this, I can stop, just need a drink to take the edge off. Weed. Reason why I like it and support it is because I would get high, feel relaxed mentally and physically and be done with it in an hour or two. I won't get any after effect like alcohol or withdrawal if I don't have any. After having a good sesh, I can go have a glass of water, go to bed and wake up feeling fresh. The withdrawal part is amazing to me. I can just stop and not have any. Plus weed is the only one where you will ever hear people say time for my tolerance break. No fucking way you can do that for coke, meth, heroin and so on. I spent 1 week of November 2019 watching my brother trying to survive meth-induced heart failure. He had less than a 5% chance of survival. Somehow he pulled through. I'll put that down to his amazing EQ team. Meth has almost destroyed his heart. End result, he has the heart of a 95 years old, possibly 5 years of life ahead and a lifetime of meds to keep him alive. He's lost everything. Almost. You don't know how glad I am to see very few people mentioning it as their drug of choice. Caffeine. Seriously, when I started taking care of my parents part-time, my mom's pain management for her migraines was very poor. This is what tipped me off that her memory was starting to go a bit. Back in my freshman year of high school, I learned that aspirin and similar headache medicines used to have a lot more caffeine in them than they do today. The caffeine improved the efficiency of the headache medicine. I told this to my parents countless times over the next 5 years until I moved out. When my mom told me her pain management for her migraines was very poor, I asked her what she took for it. She asked for her pills and a glass of water. I gave her a Diet Coke instead. In an hour, the pain from the migraine was back down to bearable levels. She couldn't remember that I'd always given her Diet Coke with her headache pills back when I was in high school. I normally snort lines of oxy and maybe sip a tiny bit of lean and I'm not a TF out. Then I either start doing lines of blow or Mally depending on what kind of speedball I'm feeling, crackball versus sex ball. Maybe smoke the blow instead if I want a nice ball. Pop a couple bars at the on and rail more oxy and black TF out and pout. Wake up next day, pop an addy or two and another couple cents, productivity ball. And go to work, get home and do it all over again. Weed makes me anxious about damaging my lungs, body. Opiates and weed. I've been off opiates since 2009 and I haven't smoked weed in 4 weeks in preparation for surgery. I'm not getting opiate painkillers for recovery. Before this, I was a very heavy user. If I ever use weed again it'll be with supervision so it doesn't get that bad again. I've dabbled in other drugs, but opiates and weed are what I ultimately gravitate to. Bipolar is a bitch and I basically get addicted to everything. I can't do anything in moderation. It's not just me. People with bipolar have very high addiction rates. About 60 to 80% of people living with bipolar disorder suffer from substance abuse issues at some point of their lives. Thankfully, I'm on medication and I live a relatively healthy lifestyle. The combination helps keep me stable. Oh man, Percocet 5/325s. I was on them for about 3 years, and they changed my life so much for the better. I got promoted at my shitty retail job, got an award at my college for best student group member. My parents liked me more and I interacted way more with others. I had to quit them in 2014 when I broke up with my source. And it really sucks knowing that life will probably never be as good as it was during that period. Any doctor has the ability to listen to my story and recognize the positives and lack of negatives, but because some people go nuts on them, anything with Excica done in it terrifies patients and doctors alike to the point where nobody is trusted to use them responsibly. Oh well, now I'm an alcoholic. LSD. Best 12-hour trips on a nice sunny Saturday in a cabin in the woods or a lazy day in the house. Always an intense trip with good laughs, amazing visuals and at the end some good eating and creativity. Oh, and sex. Damn the sex. All of that with no side effects except for the headache at the end, which you just sleep off. On some days, you might get a dip, but with good people around, and if your will is strong, you can overcome it easily and even learn from it. I can go on and say only good things. Lucy is the best. Asked costs about $5 for 100 micrograms, and 1/3 of those gets you a 10-12-hour techno spirit walk. My last trip's peak consisted of the last quarter or so of Doom 2016. I had a spiritual feeling akin to an inquisitor destroying the infidels, all while my blood turned to diesel. It's truly impossible to relay what it's like to be under the influence of a psychedelic without sounding insane. Meow. I no longer do drugs due to health issues. Gotta sleep and eat, and it would fuck my brain up. Still stand by that I would trade my soul for a bit of pre-ban mephedrone, and I guarantee you that anyone that did it at the time would tell you the same. Acid is also really good, but only chilling or at a hippie festival where it's okay to be that sort of way and most other people are too. As for raves and sessions, speed and every time tie for listening to my TED Talk TLDR, depends, but not coke. It's shit. Acid and MDMA for preference either, and /or both where please, and I have always found acid to be relaxing, funny and strange one, and the keys often made a night out a little more memorable, or if going to bars that play music I don't normally enjoy, it was a boost. Ketamine was interesting when I did it intentionally, walking like Bambi, finding everything interesting to look at. That said, pretty sure I was spiked with it once, which was a fucking horrible experience of puking my guts up and feeling disconnected. Mushrooms are on my total list still. D. My personal favorites ... mushrooms and ketamine. I never mix the two and I never chase after either one. I'm an alcoholic because of probation, so I can't partake in the devil's lettuce. Thankfully the fun guys have been abundant the last few weeks. They keep me SEO down to earth and whatnot, and I like to occasionally dissociate completely with the substance. Soke is my second favorite. It hasn't been around in a while. There's been a shit ton of love, sass, and other substances around, but the aforementioned are the best. Different drugs have different chemical properties and effects. That's why I believe there is no drug that is better than any other. Each drug is appropriate to a particular context. That's why there are various medications for various health problems. Adderall is often used by pro gamers and students because it helps focusing. Opioids often used for pain relief. Ecstasy is mostly consumed in party, social context, and weed is the best choice if you wanna be a couch potato for a day or two. You get the idea. There's a few I have to take for my mez. The one I chose is cannabis. It allows me to feel human again and understand my mind and body. Don't think I'd still be here without it. It hasn't cured my depression by any stretch, but it slows my brain and allows me to actually process what is going on. It's a tough road, but for the first time in a couple of years I can see a way forward. If I really have nothing going on, it's playing games. I can control myself to an extent when I'm excited about life, but I'm otherwise going to be wasting time in a fantasy land, you could say. I actually quit smoking before. For a full half a year one didn't care to return, but unfortunately about 2 months ago I started smoking again. It was difficult and suddenly the option to smoke came up. I took it and loved it more every time. I'm a smoker again and the desire to quit left as well. I guess you could say I'm hopeless. Best case scenario, which I have had before, is nothing. No drugs or so much of a thing I feel like I have to do. In a perfect situation I can be comfortable without sticking to any traditions. I'll come back to that freedom sometime, and it's gonna be even better. The severity of my chronic digestive disorder demands that I do my best to avoid substances in addition to avoiding the vast majority of foods, beverages, and dietary supplements. Need to avoid medications with the exception of a couple of over-the-counter ones for digestive issues, which I take only when absolutely unavoidable. Social media is my distraction, my escape, my indulgence, my freedom in spite of chronic illness. Adderall. It's been a huge help with my ADHD. Sometimes I get this strange high from it. It makes me feel guilty. I take it to be able to think, not to feel really good. It's that former effect that partially contributes to it being an easily abused substance. Please don't abuse drugs that other people need. I don't want to be looked at like a criminal by my pharmacist. I just want to foam my laundry.